I am Turk at TONEFREAK Bass Experience, and right now in this first among a sequential series of videos exploring the subject, I introduce the name bass sound architecture and what I mean by it. And then further along, I'll formalize the idea and hopefully build a foundation upon which others may build along the theme. I'm going to set forth and discuss what I call the precepts of bass sound architecture. And from videos already right here on this channel, TONEFREAK Bass Experience, I'll give examples of bass sound architecture. So now, as a point of departure, let's take a look at some of the traditional views of the bass and the bassist. That'll get us started. Traditionally, the bass has served a largely background role. In the main of modern music, it has added its boom, boom, boom to the bang, bang crash of the drum kit together to form the primary rhythms of compositions. Bass solos have placed the instrument and its player conceptually center stage for moments, yes, but that's been the exception far more than the rule. No doubt on occasion these exceptions have served to demonstrate that the given bassist can do more than just boom, boom, boom. I mean, at least that. These solos usually mimic the role of guitar or keyboard playing melody. Only the most technically savvy bass players have made their instruments serve a largely forefront role, and not just technically savvy, but overall talented as well. Now, but even more than one of these bass players who have, made their instruments serve a largely forefront role, their basses, even more than one of these have done so in association with at least making their basses sound more guitar-like, and with playing them like they are guitars, but just with bigger and less strings. Traditionally, too, standard expectations of the bass involve delivering clear and reliably steady sound, providing sustain between drum strikes, and grounding the ensemble's progression through a composition. There are a couple less usual expectations, too, in the traditional role and the traditional view. A less usual expectation involves the creation of the overall mood of a composition, or changes of mood within one. Another might involve leading the buildup of musical tension and its release in a composition. Now, these standard expectations they can do rather well at serving natural purposes. Sure. And overall, they also point to that traditional background role of the instrument. They even tended to keep it that way. Traditional. Also, in the traditional thing, there's persisted a conception among the general public and some musicians as well, is that ability challenged stringed instrument players, or at least wannabes, settle for playing the bass on the grounds that they just can't play anything else. Like, those who cannot do, teach. I guess here it would be those who can't play guitar but would like to play the bass. Well, under this conception, I guess if somebody could say, I'm really a guitar player, I just play the bass here because they needed somebody in a hurry, I guess he'd get around that. But after all, the traditional bass has only 4 strings, right? It can't be that hard to play. It's just one note at a time, too, boom, boom, boom. Well, that seems negative, all of that. But don't worry, let's go to the positive side. Many of the same people who embrace that seemingly negative view readily agree that some bass tones and some bass lines or grooves inspire reverence and dread and wonder, right? Reverence, dread, and wonder. And as we all know, the bass is what moves the feet. Its low frequencies move things inside us. And almost always it's this two-pronged positive side that brings many of us to a genuine appreciation for the bass. And to a few of those, or us, a sense of reverence, dread, and wonder about its sound architecture possibilities. So the big question for us here, now, is what is bass sound architecture? The best way for me to define it comprehensively is here in this series. Define what I mean by it. That's with words and examples alike. and let the two help make sense of one another. But for now, right now, here in this video, we can think of the product of bass sound architecture as the weaving of a sonic tapestry, a term which was first coined to me by my friend Steve Stockton. Weaving of a sonic tapestry. Right now you're hearing the first approximation of bass sound architecture. The formal departure into bass sound architecture, as I see it, this first approximation, is a beginning, not a fully developed theory or method of practice. Now, in the next video, I'm going to go ahead and name the first 3 precepts of bass sound architecture and go over a few examples. Meanwhile, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I invite you to do that and smack the bell for notification anytime I publish another video, like the next one in this series. I'm Turk at TONEFREAK Bass Experience. I'll see you soon, and be well.